I have 2 times yes. First, because I'm a professor, so I have a salary. Second, it depends really from the students, because what the students are willing to pick up, to catch for themselves. Without that, I was for some very good professor, for some very bad. And very bad if they behave like schoolboys, you know. I'm not there to teach them in the sense of what they have to do, and the knob and the Alexa is there and the pixels are there. This is ridiculous. But if you have really the need for your profession, I can help maybe to show the way sometimes. That's the 2 yes.
I went to film school, and that was my only way through academics to go from an island like Cyprus without a big film industry and learn about filmmaking. We didn't have the opportunities to apprenticeship, etc. And I think if you decide to go to a film school, you should not go because you want to get a job in the film industry. I think you go because you want to educate yourself. My father told me that the Turks can come any day and take your house and your car. Your education and what you have here, no one can take away. So that's what you should go to film school for.
Okay, done? I think it's time.
No, but I just want to say, I get USC master, the masters in film from USC and from UCLA, and they start on a set. Once they come to a real set, they start exactly where anybody would start who didn't go to film school. Exactly the same place. I mean, I've had interns on Nebraska. I had a kid, a little Mexican kid from Lincoln, Nebraska. It's like, like you're from, Patas or something. I mean, like they had no exposure to any. I mean, so I know it's a cultural center, Patas. But no, anyway, I just want to say, you realize right away he gets it, and we kept him, and he's in LA now. He's working. He's directed 2 movies. I just think like you just have to do it. I mean, of course, you can be guided, and they're great film schools. Like if there were film schools like Łódź, like in Poland, where Polanski and Kieślowski, all those schools. In those schools, first of all, even if you get in and your first film is not good, you get kicked out. You have to leave. You have to make room for somebody else who they think is talented. And I've been on the student jury, several years now, and all the big film nations, America, France, Germany, that have big film schools. Those films are consistently the worst, I would say, in the competition. Because they're overproduced. They spend a lot of money. They have. They shoot anamorphic, they have Dolby Mix, but emotionally they're like, they audition for jobs, they want studio jobs, those people, you can tell. And then you watch a Polish film, or, usually like the East, it's super simple, a black and white, like no sound, they have to do 3 minutes with no sound, and you're like crying, it's just, a little story about it, but it has emotional content. So, sometimes with film schools can also, nothing against professors. Unfortunately, there probably aren't a lot of great professors teaching, and if you're lucky to get one, then it's probably very valuable. But there is something, about it, at least in America, the people who are teaching, if they could, they would be working, unless, they decided to retire and stuff. But most people are teaching that are cinematographers are because they can't get a job.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate and say another part of that, because I agree with everything Fabian says, but I also think it really is up to you, and if you would like to go into an environment where you're allowed to experiment, and find your voice. And I don't think a lot of people do that, and I don't think the question that a lot of people have when they wonder whether they should go to film school is about that. It is about trying to find a job. And I really kind of think that if you would go into that environment, it's to be given a chance to find your voice and experiment. And in that it has a use and a purpose.
I don't know if you need the structure. I mean, anymore.
Yeah.
He was too asking if it's worse than money.
Yes, that's a separate question.
I say no. Because really, I was always fighting. It's a lot of money because they all concentrate and all the functionality, their content. If they say, last year we spent 1 million because we bought 10 new cameras or editing suites or whatever. And this is exactly the wrong access to education.
Well, those schools
Because
are
you can do it
business.
with...
I mean, they're business. Those universities are.
No, but we speak about the student, not about business to buy money. You mean, yeah.
Well, they're charging
In
a lot.
America.
I mean, that's
In America it's business. Here's
I mean,
additional money.
A5 is, and they don't give scholarships there.
So it's up to you.
One last question.
Last question.
One last question.
My question or remark, last one I'm doing today, will
Where are
be
you? There.
here.
Oh,
Here.
okay.
Is about the craft that is being lost with the entrance of both the new technology and the mentality that has come from it. Personally, I've been to Stockholm, to the old film city there, where Bergman used to shoot Fanny and Alexander, for example. And there are still old people that used to make all the interiors or make special light grips that Bergman or Nyquist used. So my question is, has there been something lost in our race to the high-end cameras when we have lost our sense with the material world? We just push the button and everything is fine, at least.
But it's not. It's not like that. It's not like that.
Okay.
I mean,
why is
you
it not?
get an image.
We take it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you get an image if you push a button, but like I said earlier, I mean, you still have to, you still can light the same way. But it is true, because you still get an image by just pushing a button, that the craft, I do think, is getting lost for people who never exposed film. I mean, people who never went through the process of, having to wait for the lab and to sit down and watch dailies and see what happened. I mean, that's getting lost. But in terms of creating an image that makes sense and tells story and is modeled and the appropriate light, all those things you still have to create. You just see it while you do it. You're still painting with it. But just because you can expose anything doesn't mean, it's a craft. It's not a craft. If I can record anything with my iPhone all the time, 24 hours a day, without any craft. But that's not what we do.
I think it's a little like the discussion was in the last century, or the century before, in fact, with the invention of photography toward the painters. Because there were a big discussion, we don't need painters anymore. And it was ridiculous, of course. And today, who is able to write? Everybody can write. You have better literature or more books. I think it's not really a problem. But it looks for you like that. I understand, because you are confronted with permanent, everything promising tools. And with the idea it replaces what you have to do. And the other way around, you can do it, as you mentioned it, with the Bolex and with the 30-meter roll. if you find somebody who develops it.
I do think that, you know, some filmmaker might be discovered or be able to expose his work because of a new technology that maybe wouldn't have been able in the past. So, but it's not like suddenly, because everyone can make a movie, there's going to be millions of great filmmakers. That's not going to happen. But, you know, there might be a certain percentage of people that would have never had the opportunity to make a movie that now can make a movie. So obviously somebody will, you know, find his way into, you know, working as a filmmaker that wouldn't have. But it doesn't mean we're gonna have, you know, like thousands of talented cinematographers suddenly just because everyone can buy a Canon 5D.
That was Canon,
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, on behalf of Imago, I'm just going to ask to say a few words, and I have a few thanks. I'd like to first of all thank you all for coming here. This is a very important day for the Greek Society of Cinematographers. First time that you've had an international organization like Imago supporting you. We're really proud, as I said earlier this morning, to be here. And firstly, I want to thank our three professors here, Professor Berger, Professor Zambarloukos, and Professor Papamichael. But the other special thank you I have to give is to Yanis, who is right there. Pedros, Amores. I'm from Mr. Frentos. He keeps calling me Mr. President, so I have to thank him. And I'm sure there are many others in the Greek society. This is important for you as a society because it's been a struggle, I know, for them all, for this society to be created. And now it is created. And now, thanks to our friends here, it's working, and we're getting, through international goodwill, we are able to join together, friend from Australia, friend from New Zealand, friend from all around the world, and bring together people here so that we can actually learn about our craft of cinematography. I think it seems to me that what you brought to yourselves is a respect which I hope your directors will take back, respect for the profession and respect for what we do. Thank you very much. Tomorrow I've been asked to say one thing, and that is these gentlemen have apparently agreed to be here tomorrow evening. Is that all correct? It is. Well done. So we will come back tomorrow. Apparently they're starting at the same time. Thank you very much indeed.
We have to, because we are just in the river of Thanksgiving, we have to thank Imago, because otherwise we would not come in touch like that and not come in touch with you. Thank you.